and repent for that. But rather than repenting privately, he's repenting corporately and dragging everyone else into it.
Yeah.
Well, this same-sex blessings issue is popping up in the Roman Church as well.
So where does it say in the Bible you can't have a same-sex relationship?
All over the entire Bible. But see, that question's a very Protestant question. It's like, give me the exact verse.
I'm asking the question.
The Bible itself should be read as a whole, and the message of the Bible is that
marriage is between a man and a woman.
Marriage is between one man and one woman. It's a lifelong union, and the purposes of that are for that individual couple, is for their wider community, and for the greater glory of God. Right? So there's a broad purpose for marriage.
But why can't two blokes have that, or two girls?
Because they can't be open to being blessed with God by God with children. It's an impossibility.
But they can buy one off an American surrogate.
But it's just disordered, right? God has an order.
But there are gay people. Like Douglas Murray said to me the other day. He said he phoned me up to check whether I was all right. Because that's the usual crap I go through. And he said, we were talking about, so I don't know how being gay came up, but he was like, I feel like it's the duty of gay people to be the warriors in this battle. He said, I almost think it's why God made gay people. So do you think God makes gay people, Calv?
No.
So what? He's just...
So God's order is good, and God's order makes sense. Now, we live in a disordered world because of the fall, because of original sin.
Yeah.
Some people find themselves to be same-sex attracted, but the Christian message would be that is a difficult life, because every single human being...
Sounds like a freaking brilliant life. It's other than the sexual part of it, it's you don't have to pay for all of the... Well, actually, no, kids are amazing. They're worth every...
Kids are the point.
Yeah. But they're...
Calvin, question, right? You evaded the... Well, Calvin evaded the question. Lawrence Fox wanted to know where in the Bible, effectively, it says that two men can't be together or two women, and that, the man and that man and that woman have to come together to have a child, right? But Calvin didn't actually give one specific answer or one specific verse or chapter of the Bible where it says that. He claims that it's through the whole Bible, all of it, and you have to read it as an interpretation of the entire thing. It doesn't give one particular rule or direction. So, and then Fox comes with, well, why can't you adopt somewhere else? I think Fox was actually subconsciously thinking what I've actually just myself thought of as well. And that is, well, how does Calvin explain the virgin birth then? How does Calvin explain the virgin birth, why it bothers featuring in there, and why not only is it featured in there, it is the appearance of Jesus. It is, in fact, where Jesus came from. Because Jesus came from a woman, and apparently it wasn't Joseph's son, right? Now, but Jesus is good. Now, if Calvin's basis on let's get this clear, right? I'm not saying that I'm for gay marriages or lesbian relationships or for people, banging out kids and I'm not knowing who the parents are and having a family framework. Like, George Galloway is very pro family framework, but he also supports other religions as well. Calvin, right? And this is like purely, my reaction basically to what he just said. Now that I've actually, first time I've thought about it properly, really. How can the entire message of a book in its totality, if Calvin cannot give a particular line, clause, paragraph, chapter, sentence, where any explicit or specific rule or order, command, or direction is given, and I definitely in the Ten Commandments, I don't think, right? We can look at those in a minute. When the entire book in its entirety, as a message, is based on the starting principle, at least of apparently, to be a Christian, you don't just have to believe in God, like the First Testament, you've actually got to believe in Jesus. the main fundamental principle of why a lot of religions say that people aren't a true Christian is not because they don't believe in God. Apparently they said the devil can believe in God. It is because if they don't believe in Jesus, right? So therefore, Jesus is the main factor in why Christians actually regard you as being a believer or not if you believe in Jesus. Yet Jesus only exists because of a relationship that is actually not from the father and mother of a child, right? Now, not really concentrating on the supernatural element of it, that, apparently, if Jesus didn't have a father, I'm not bothered about that. What we're talking about is the message is that you can have, the message of the Bible clearly is that you can have a man and a woman having a family where the child is not from the father, right? So who is it from? Well, it must be from someone else, or it doesn't matter whether it's from God or another man, but it ain't from Joseph. So you can have a family unit, no one's disputing that, form a family with a man and a woman, and it doesn't matter where the child's from, if it doesn't matter that it's not from that particular father, as long as you form a family unit. But, and so it really, it's not actually advocating who is the father or mother. So really the Bible's message is that, it doesn't really matter who the father and mother are, really, as long as humans come together and a man and a woman brings up a child so that it has that human existence to it. The model of the species is you need a man and a woman to create a baby, right? But it came from elsewhere to that man, but you can still have that family unit even if the child. So effectively, on the basis of Jesus, it means that effectively, my opinion is that don't argue too much about whose child it is, as long as it has a family, a proper family. Doesn't matter whose child it is or where it came from, as long as it is brought up with a proper family, right? Which means it's good for it to have a mother and a father, or a masculine and a feminine, so that it feels normal, because that's how you do make children. Yet if it does happen to come from somewhere else, whether it is God or from nowhere or somewhere, then at least it is brought up how humans are regularly formed, even if there happens to be a mishap or something like that, like, an alien intervention or divine intervention, or a fallout, mishap, argument, or other calamity, of which there were many in the prehistoric times, particularly when, there's a lot of arguments, disputes, tribal warfare, flints buried in the back of people's heads, arrows in the back of people's bodies we find dug up, Pete Bogman, whatever, right? Nailed to the cross with your hands, or whatever, father gets crucified, so they ain't got a father anymore, so they're left with son and mother. That means that, oops, dad got crucified, what should we do? I don't have a daddy anymore. Well, mummy might have to find one. That's what I would say now, actually, with a bit of clarity thinking about it. But then again, when Jesus is reborn and comes back from the dead, when they've got the Last Supper, that picture with the Last Supper usually has a... there's all the apostles, whatever you want to call them, around him, and there's Jesus there, and there's that Mary Magdalene, isn't there? And she's there, one woman with all the men, right? But yet she's with, hasn't she got her arm around Jesus? So I don't know if that particular symbol, you could read that. I would even now, with a bit more clarity and a bit more less brain fog, I would kind of possibly read that as either all those men can share a woman if the others don't have one, or the opposite of that, she sticks with her man and not goes off with the other ones, or yeah, well, either of those two. It's either one or the other. Maybe you can't have both, or maybe you can have both. I don't know. That's the thing. So that's an interesting one, that Last Supper. If you think of the word as well, the Last Supper, the Last Supper, the final supper, the last one. What if there was only one woman left in the whole planet? What if there was only one woman left? What would we do then? What would you do? Like, it was not. What's that film? Not Gilligan's Island. God knows. There's something like Gilligan's Island or something or other. Not Planet of the Apes, but something like that. What would you do if there was a nuclear Putin fallout? And actually, that's an interesting word, a fallout, isn't it? Because a fallout's an argument. What happened? What would you do if there was like 10 men and one woman left on planet Earth? Would that mean that the others could not have any companions anymore? They would be devoid of a female companion for comfort. Well, God was meant to make man and woman, for each other. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. So if there was only one woman and 10 men, they wouldn't be very happy men, would they? But then again, if one man has got his friend, his partner, what would it be for the others to steal that partner from him? So looking at that Last Supper now, with a bit more insight and understanding, and trying not to be biased, or try not to be, try to be impartial and not be biased, actually would be less argument. So Calvin's saying that everything's meant to work for the greater good, right? But so what would be the greater good in that situation? Well, the greater good in the situation of the picture of the Last Summer would be like, to share the woman, wouldn't it? So less arguments, but also not for Jesus to be deprived of his woman. Although Jesus usually sacrifices things, but he shares the bread and shares the fish, so maybe share his woman around. That is, you see, there are a lot of lonely people in this world, and a lot of people who don't have friends, and they're lonely. What about all the people who are having a fun, having a great time, having a ball of a time, while people are left lonely? I'm all right, Jack, or whatever. But, the TV claims that it's trying to help. You get these stupid idiot loose women. Well, that's funny, isn't it? Loose women, it's Mary Magdalene. No, but you get all these morning TV shows who think they're saving the world through celebrityism. Oh, it's Jeremy Vine. I'm saving the world. I'm saving the world. No, you're making yourself a career, aren't you, Jeremy? No, it's not, because we're going to solve the problems. We'll get them on our show and we'll get them all on, and we're having a jolly old time. We're getting everyone into the studio. No, come on down. The price is right. No, we're having a good time. We're solving it. As long as you switch the glowing light on and stare into the screen, now you're not lonely anymore. Now you've got a warm, glowing television screen, and Jeremy Vine can warm the cockles of your soul. Yes, but it's a screechy, shiny TV screen, Jeremy. Maybe if everyone else wasn't hypnotized by the glowing screen, sat in their front room, maybe they would be engaging with real people. Yes, but we're encouraging that. What's what we're doing? Everyone watches and tune in, and we're telling you to go and engage with other people and make them happy and cook them a cake and save the world, giving money to charity. But they're not, though, are they? They're tuning into the glowing screen. Well, no, do that after after, like Mr. Miyagi, after. But when should we go to all these lonely people, Jeremy Vine, and help them and bake them cakes and love them and cherish them? When, we've told them not to point, not to stare, not to look at other people, not to speak at other people, don't point your cameras at them, don't film them, can't have free speech anymore, well, after the programme, after the programme, yes, but what happens if I'm working all day? Well, sometime or other, well, maybe if they weren't tuned into the television screen, Jeremy, this is it. This is why I'm not an advocate of celebrityism, because ultimately it's, we're saving the world. Yeah, right. That's why we're here. It's MSNBC. We're saving the world. MSNBC. You come and tune in to me. Save the world by watching television. And then save other people later, after, as long as you don't miss the highlights of the show. This is how to save people. All you need is your own television studio, a camera, and then you can just demonstrate. You don't even need to be with those people. Just tell them how to do it, and tune in, listen to the directions, and then after you finish the most important part of the day, then you can go help other people. But don't give them your own free opinion. Don't point, don't stare, don't film their children or whatever. This is it. Actually, Calvin's in a way. Calvin had some. He's right about the family unit, but why wouldn't you? Why would the Bible, not promote, two women? Why wasn't it? It could have. They could have said, like, they could have had, Jesus just, appeared out of a cesarean section or something. They were mummifying people around those times, and sticking orifices up their noses and chopping the brains out and mummifying them. Anything could have happened. It could have been an alien abduction. Anything could have happened. You could have had two men, two women. No, I think there are some things that the Bible can get you to believe, and one of them was not a man having a baby out of his rectum, or a woman having a cesarean section birth from another woman. Those were the two things that they really didn't get you to believe. No, Mary had a little lamb. His fleece was white as snow. But everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Oh, look, here's Joseph. Hello, where's this baby come from? Well, I'll give you 3 guesses. We'll just forget about that misadventure, and, he needs a dad. Well, here I am, I'm Joseph. Perfect, that'll do. Now the little child will grow up with a mummy and a daddy. What happens if Daddy gets crucified? Well, we'll have to find him another one, won't we? There's 11 apostles yet left. There's still some men left, Caesar hasn't had them all nailed on the cross so far. This is it. I don't think this is the thing. Joseph's not short of a woman. We don't need too many stories of women. Are there any famous women who were crucified on the cross? Or is it usually just men, That would be, Calvin, can you tell me, in 5 seconds flat, name me 6 women, well-known crucified women from the Bible, not Cleopatra, 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 why have I only just got that now? Cleopatra, and certain religious practices in other countries that, close enough to a cesarean section, but, I don't think that I'd trust that doctor with that kind of operation, interesting. So, that's my opinion on it. If you think that I'm wrong, fair enough. But, maybe there aren't many examples. Well, actually, there clearly is. The Last Supper clearly is in most of those pictures that I see of it, there's definitely something going on in that picture. I don't know if I've seen one the other way around. Notice that Last Supper picture is kind of like the opposite of the Islam, because don't they, is it Muslims in Islam? I'm not sure. What are those princes, the Saudi princes who can have 9 wives? They can have multiple wives, get married to multiple women. I've just kind of realised a bit of a revelation. Isn't the Last Supper with Mary Magdalene and Jesus and the apostles kind of like the reverse of what the other religion is doing with if you're rich and you can afford them, obviously it's all down to money. In those religions, they've got multiple wives. One guy, multiple wives, as long as he can afford them. Sheikh of Arabica or whatever, but it's the opposite way around, with Jesus and Mary Magdalene. He's got his own disciples and the same woman. But then again, if you join a nunnery, then there ain't going to be any guys around. Or sheiks, Quite interesting, though. I've never really thought of it like that before. Interesting. But anyway, that's my 2 cents anyway. I'll carry on with this programme because I've only just started watching it and it's actually quite funny. This actually was quite jovial humour at the start of this. It's probably the best episode that I've seen of Lawrence Fox so far. So I'm kind of hoping, how far are we in? I'm only 9 minutes 51 in now.